Hello, hello, hello. What is going on, mi gente? It is your girl, Idylli, and you are on the Speak Easy with Idylli show. Yes, it's Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST, and you know it. I'm here live with a guest. Super excited for that. But first, a few announcements. First of all, thank you. I just cannot thank you for enough for the response, for the shares, for the comments, for the likes, just the opportunity. As you guys know, when I started this journey, I did it on my own, right? It was just me bringing value every single week. But the Lord spoke to me, and y'all know I'm spirit led. And the beginning of the year, He said it's time to rebrand. And that's when Speak Easy with Idylli came up. And He said, you have a platform where you can now showcase powerful individuals who have a story, who've been through some things, who created some things, who are business owners, who want to be business owners. You have a platform, right? That is not just about you. And so I'm obedient, and here we are. And I'm super, super excited that I get to come on here every single week, literally, and share my gift with you guys. I help women be unapologetically who they are while growing into who they're meant to become. I don't take that lightly. I don't take that for granted. Someone believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. And now I'm able to turn around and help you do the same thing. So if you ever have any questions, if you ever need anything, please don't hesitate to DM me. I challenge you now. You've been thinking, you got this in the back of your mind, like, man, I really want to do this. I really want to do that. How do I believe in this? How do I believe in that? If you asking yourself these questions, I challenge you to send me a DM, right? And get some of those questions answered. But again, thank you so much, because you guys, again, every single week you show up and you decide to spend your time with me and my special guest. So thank you so much. I'm really, really excited for tonight, you guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Again, if you're just joining, letting us know. Hello, Tania. I see here Tania saying yes. She's watching on YouTube. Listen, this is being streamed on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. So Tania, I see you on YouTube. All my Instagram people, I see you there. Prima, thank you for joining. Sheila, Yashira, let's go, let's go, let's go. A couple of other people, I see you guys on here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much. If you're watching on the replay, I love y'all too. Don't get it twisted. Y'all need to be watching live, like for real. Just make it happen. Put it on your calendar. Set the alarms. However, if you're watching on the replay, comment replay, and definitely know that I love you guys too. Thank you so much. Okay. So now for our special guest, y'all, I'm going to start getting like sound effects, right? That's what I need, some drum roll. Actually, I have pretty good sound effects myself, but drum roll, please. I am going to be interviewing today none other than Miss Tiffany Harris.
Hello.
How are you?
I am amazing. Thank you so much for asking. How are you, beautiful?
I am fabulous. Thank you so much for being here, for giving your time, and for just bringing value to my guest tonight, because I know that's exactly what you are going to do. So thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. So let's get to it. Let's talk about it. Like, let's chat. You know, this is a conversation, and basically, you know, where are you from? Where do you live? What do you do? Where did you grow up? Do you have brothers and sisters?
Give me the yes. All great questions. So I grew up in Philadelphia, so I'm a Philly girl, born and raised, not West Philadelphia where Will Smith come from, not that area, but but I am from Philly, and I'm still in Philly. My parents actually moved to North Carolina back in 2000, and they were trying to get me to move down there as well. But they're in the country. I'm not a country girl. I need to, hear a little noise. I need to be able to walk to the corner store. So I can't be sitting in the house and have to drive 15 minutes just to go to the dollar store. I can't do that, So Philly is where I am. I am planning on relocating soon. So growing up, yes, I had brothers and sisters. I had a lot of brothers and sisters. So I am one of 9.
Wow.
And so that's what some people don't know about me. Yes, I am one of 9. So I have 5 brothers and 3 sisters. Yes, wow. And I'm number 6. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
number 6 in line. Yep.
Miss-
And one of my sisters and I don't know if any of you know what an Irish twin is, but we are
Yeah.
Irish twins. Yeah, so we're Irish twins.
Mm,
And so I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but I'm going to tell you all the year that my sister was born. 2 months later, my parents just couldn't wait. And 2 months later,
right.
after having her, they got pregnant with me. So we are
Wow.
literally 11 months apart. And so, growing up in a big house, I think it taught me a lot though. Now, I will say in
Mhm.
retrospect, I didn't like it. Like back then, we had a one way, what they call that, a cheese line back then. And so,
Mhm.
everybody had to take turns to use the phone. When you wanted to
Yes.
get your favorite snack, it was gone because everybody ate it all. But in retrospect, I really appreciate having a big family. I feel like it taught me a lot of patience. It
Mm,
taught me, to deal with different personalities. So growing up
right.
with everybody in the house, and it was my mother and my father. And so my father is currently deceased, God rest his soul, but he was in the home with us. And, we made it work. Everybody up in that one big roof. And, my mother
Mm,
made sure that we were close, and I love that backstage before coming on board, you prayed. You talked about being obedient. I was raised in the church. My mother
mm,
took us to shut in. We were in morning service, noon service, evening service, Sunday service, Tuesday night
right.
service, Friday night service. And so, yes, so that's where I was raised. Have a bunch of brothers and sisters. Some are still here in Philly, some are in Virginia, and then some in North Carolina. So
So
huge.
with that, I gotta ask now because you gotta think 9 kids, having kids, how many you got some nieces and nephews.
Oh, yes. And I don't know how many. I just know
You
it's a lot.
don't have to
That's all
count,
I know.
right? That's a lot.
I don't know. I just know it's a lot. And it's funny
Right.
because sometimes my mother and I will sit and we'll try to list all of them and count. But even going through, we like, wait,
You miss
who we
one,
forget?
right?
We missed one. Then we got to start over. I'm like, no, this is too much. I just know it's a lot of them. And I
Right.
love them all. That's it.
Right. I know. And now let me ask you this. How many kids do you have?
One and done, hun. That's it.
Listen, I knew you were gonna say that.
One and done. And so people
I
used to
knew
always
it.
say, well, Tiffany, you come from a big family. You don't want a large family? Absolutely not.
Mhm.
One and done. And here's the
Right.
thing, I said that I always only, and I was very specific and clear with God and about my request. I always
Mm,
only wanted a daughter by the time I was 30. And I had my
right.
daughter when I was 28. Hallelujah. Thank you, Lord,
Amen.
and done, right? And so I'm super grateful for that. My daughter is now 14. She is simply
Mm,
amazing. Her name is London, and she is my why, right? And I tell people my why is big. Like she is my why. If it had not been for her, I wouldn't be here. Like seriously, she is my why.
mm. I love that so
Absolutely.
much. Enjoy it because it goes so fast. Mine's about to be a senior next year, my only daughter.
Oh,
And yeah, I can remember when she was 14. So when you said 14, I'm like, oh, 14.
yeah, but listen, she's already at that age. I'm like, you want to come watch a movie with your mother? She's like, I'm already watching a movie. I'm like, well, come watch it with me.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. So, I
Wow.
appreciate the time that we get to spend together. And I try to make sure, with everything else that's going on, she is included in my agenda. She's included in my schedule. Like she's included in the plan.
Mm, I love that so much. I think she froze. I don't know if it's me. Let's see. Hopefully she comes back. What's going on, mi gente? Send me a comment. Shoot me a comment if you could see me on here. If it's the whole thing that's frozen, I can't really tell. I know I see her face frozen. Hopefully it is just that. I'm not getting any comments. So let's see. Okay, mi gente, what's going on? This is what happens. Like technology, we cannot support. It happens. Yes, it was her. Hopefully, she's gonna come back on. For now, you guys got me. I had guest Tiffany Harris on. She was just talking about her life story, how she has 9 brothers and sisters. She's from Philly, and no, not from where? West Philadelphia, born and raised. On the playground is where I spent. Yeah, I know you guys know the rest of that. But yes, let's go, mi gente. I can hear you, but not her. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah, she froze. Let's see. Hopefully she's gonna come back. And I just want to give her a few more minutes. Let me see. I'm trying to message her too. Okay. Oh, she's there. She's back. She's back, y'all. She's back. Okay.
I was steady. Yeah, I was steady talking and talking. I was like, wait, am I frozen?
Yeah,
and it's like, that weird part where my mouth was like open and then make that like weird face. I was like, ooh.
No, but you know, not on my end. Then you must have seen it stuff before because your mouth was closed, but your hands was weird like that. But
right.
But yeah, but you're here. Somebody just texted like, oh no, like they were like, you're gone. So
I'm back, y'all.
We lost you at you put your daughter and you include her in everything.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, that's basically what I was saying. Yeah, so she's a part of everything that I do. You know, when I battled my mental health breakdown, you know, dealing with depression and anxiety every day, you know, not eating, isolating, you know, not taking care of my hygiene, and just really in a low and unhealthy place. I would have stayed there if it wasn't for my daughter.
Wow.
You know, I wouldn't have had that mindset to get back up and fight and ask for help and see where resources were available to me, you know, because I was distraught, you know, and it was my daughter. You know, I would look at her and I'm like, yeah, no, giving up is not an option. I can't do this. You know, I can't allow her to go on and live in a house with no heat, and we're going to food banks to try to get free meals and things like that. You know, it's like, Tiffany, get yourself up, ask for help, stop being embarrassed, stop being ashamed. It's okay to not be okay, right? And that's what I want to share, say to the audience too. And y'all can put that in the chat box. It's okay to not be okay. I didn't want people to know that I wasn't okay, you know, because prior to that, I was the person everybody was calling.
Oh no, the enemy's a liar. This was about to go in, y'all. I was gonna ask her some deep questions just now. Hopefully we can get her back on. Let me just text her real quick and let her know she's frozen again. Okay, hold on. So listen to what she's saying though, mi gente. Like, where she's coming from. At the end of the day, no, we all look at people and we think they got it together, or you know, you know, they look good or they're successful or they're this, but we don't know where they came from. We don't know what their story is, what they've been through, how they got there, right? And some of us have been through a lot. And at the end of the day, being able to, you know, just really stand up from that and just really say, like she just said, like, no, it's okay not to be okay. However, right? However, she has to step up. And she said, no, she's got to be resourceful. She's got to ask for help. She got to put that pride aside. And she had to do what she had to do for her family and say, no, she can't stay there. And that's the main thing. If you don't get anything else, if she does not come back on, if this shuts down completely, understand that you may be going through something today. I get it. Anxiety's real, depression's real, schizophrenia's real, lost jobs are real. I get it. Arguments with families are real. Boyfriends leaving, husbands leaving are real. I get it. It is real. But you don't have to stay there. Your circumstances do not determine your destiny. Your decisions in the circumstances is what determines your destiny. I hope she comes back because her story is powerful. We were on with Tiffany Harris live. She was just talking about being depressed, having anxiety, and having to talk to herself and say, it's okay not to be okay. You all know my story. You know, and if you don't know, mental health is serious in my family. And I know this is Mental Health Month, and that Harris's story. Because even though all month, all year long should be mental health awareness, we do celebrate it hardcore in May for a reason. And it's important to check on your friends and check on your people. She still hasn't come back. You know, I see Nikki. Hey, Nikki. Judith, what's up, Judith? What's going on? I know we lost her. We're hoping she comes back. Julissa says, yes, girl, yes, right? Yes. Judith says, yes, do not stay there. Get up. It's so important. Mi gente, like, oh my goodness, I can't stress enough how important, how much. That's where the value is. It's where you came out of it. It's the getting up. It's the saying no more. That's where the juice is. That's where you win. Man, I hope she comes back. I'm not sure what happened with her internet. Maybe it went down. The enemy is a liar, y'all. The enemy is a liar. Okay? But we're going to keep going. Right, that's going to be happening, and I'm really, really excited for that because it's Father's Day, and we need to celebrate our men, y'all, because the world has us thinking that they're no good. We don't need them. Oh, women empowerment. Don't get it twisted. I'm all about my women empowerment, but we need our men too, and we need our sons to become good men and good fathers and good husbands. So at the end of the day, we will celebrate them in June. Okay, I'm really excited. I have a couple of men guests in June coming up, and we're going to do a special at the end of June, right? Because it is important to celebrate our men. Okay, and so I'm really, really excited to be able to do so. I know you guys have seen the meme, right? And it's so funny because, you know, it says for Mother's Day, oh, everybody's out at this restaurant and everybody's celebrating. And then Father's Day, the dad is the one grilling, right? We're in the backyard and the dad is the one grilling. And that's so true. I feel so bad, but it's so true. But we love you guys and we definitely want to celebrate you. So this month, we will definitely be making sure that our topics will be men focused. But what do you guys want to see in July? Like, talk to me. Like, what kind of topics? What do you want to know about? What do you want to hear about? What would you like to talk about? Tiffany still hasn't been able to come back on. If this doesn't work, trust me, we're going to bring her back another day because her story is powerful. She was just getting juicy. She was just getting to the good stuff. And of course, the internet kicked her out. And so I want to make sure that, you know, we give you guys the best at all times. And that includes the goodness of, you know, I mean, we can't stop the internet and technology. It is what it is, right? It works most of the time. It's done us a big favor. We're not saying, oh, technology sucks. Like, I don't ride that ride. Technology is a huge thing and it's a great thing, but sometimes it doesn't work how it's supposed to. And so Tennille says, wow, it must be some great info we are supposed to hear, right? Sis, like for real, for real. I'm like, wow, I can't believe that. I just hold on. I'm getting a message. Let's see. Oh, she's having technical difficulties. It's not going to work out. Oh, man. The enemy's a liar. Okay. Okay. So we're going to roll, y'all. She brought up mental health, so we're going to talk about it. Okay. She brought up health and mental health, so we are going to talk about it. This is Mental Health Awareness Month. As a person, yes, Tiffany Harris, one of our big keynote speakers at the, yes, powerful story for sure, Nikki. And Julie says, as a person who struggled with anxiety and depression, I love what you're doing and exposing it. Thank you, Julie. We have to, because here's the thing, we don't talk about it enough. Even though it's all over, and even though some people do talk about it, there's a lot of people suffering in silence, right? I didn't know what it felt like because I've always been that positive person, happy, go lucky, nothing can knock me down. But in 2022, I fell and I fell hard. Everything was upside down in my life. To the point where I sat on the couch, literally holding my breath, like wondering what it would feel to not breathe again. That was me, Idylli. And I never imagined putting myself in any kind of shoe or title in the depression area, because it runs in my family. As you guys know, mental health is hardcore in my family, right? Schizophrenia, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, right? From grandma to uncle to sister to, it just skips all these generations. Even my daughter, she even did a live with me about her anxiety. I was so proud of her, for her to step up at her age and say, I want to help people too, Mom. I'll tell my story. If you haven't caught that, it's on Instagram. This was last year. Okay. This was last year. She did one with me because she said, I want to tell, and she's not the camera person, right? But it's important that we talk about these things because, again, so many of us are suffering in silence, and you just don't have to anymore. You're not alone. Mi gente, you're not alone. We go through it. We go through it together. It's in the comments. I've been through it. Tiffany's back, and we're about to put her back on, and she's going to tell us how she went through it. You're not alone. And I know there's plenty of 1-800 numbers out there, and there's plenty of things you can Google, but there's also us, and you can DM us for that. You can talk to us. You feel anxiety, you feel depression, you feel sad, you don't know what to do. Please, you are not alone. Judith is on here. She will be more than happy, right? There's a lot of us, Nikki, a lot of us who are here ready to just help and give resources as we can. We're not psychologists, but we can guide you, right? We can guide you, and we have resources to help. And so that's where we left off with resources. So I'm glad that we're going to come right back on. Miss Tiffany, welcome back.
Thank you. It's so good to be back. I was backstage like, gotta work. I gotta get back on. But yes, so, and I'm glad when I came back, the first things I heard you say was about depression running in your family, because that is the same thing for me. So my father, he was actually diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, so PTSD, bipolar disorder, and depression. And growing up, I didn't know that what I saw had a name to it. I didn't know that my father, he was actually suffering in silence. I didn't know. And so what I saw growing up, I literally, because of my ignorance, I called my father, quote unquote, crazy. And I used to ask my mom, like, Mom, can we get out of here? I mean, he loses his favorite pen and he's flipping the couch over. He's crazy. Or, he's snapping over the littlest things, or his temper is short. He's crazy. And so I didn't understand it until I was 17. He went and he got help. And because of the stigma that's placed on individuals who have a mental health diagnosis, and especially a man, he never sought help. So when I was 17, he checked himself into the VA hospital up in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. And that's when I learned all the diagnoses that he had. And I apologized to him. I said, I didn't know. I didn't know. And I had so much compassion and empathy for him. And what I learned was that his post-traumatic stress disorder, his bipolar disorder, and depression was a result of his childhood trauma. And so a lot of us don't realize that we really sit back and identify the root of our bipolar or mental health. It stems from childhood trauma. So in combination with his childhood trauma, he did 2 tours in Vietnam. So not only did he do 2 tours in Vietnam, he was a sniper. I did not know any of this growing up. So when I went to college, my major was initially education. I wanted to be a teacher. I never wanted to be a coach. I didn't want to be a speaker. I wanted to be a teacher. And so, but when I learned about what my father had experienced, I was more intrigued and wanted to learn more about his experiences and supports and resources that were available. So I switched my major to human development and family studies. And so as of today, I've been in a mental health field now for 18 years. in the mental health field. And
Wow.
so I'm glad that I came in right on that part of the conversation. And like you told the ladies, you are not alone. You are not
Mm-hmm.
alone. And like I was saying before, I think I froze, it's
Mm-hmm.
okay to not be okay. And because
Right.
we're judged and we're looked at as abnormal or something's wrong with us,
Right.
we tend to not tell people what we're going through. And like my father suffered in silence, I suffered in silence as well until I had to realize the only way that I was going to get help was if I asked for help.
Right.
Nobody was coming to save Tiffany. Tiffany had to open up her mouth and let somebody know. And so, and support and resources can look like calling your parent if you have a parent. And that's what it was for me. Outside of talking to God first, my
Mm.
mother was the only other person who I talked to first. But you have communities, you
Right.
have church families, you have, I think you were saying it earlier, the 1-800 numbers that you can call. You have
Right.
therapists. If you
Right.
need to see a therapist, you
They're
can go
so
see a
accessible
therapist.
now. They're so
Yes,
accessible. It's not like before.
right, exactly. So I'm glad I came in on
Yeah.
that part of the
Me
conversation.
too. And I'm glad you brought up your dad being crazy. Like we did the same thing with my grandma, right? Because my grandmother was schizophrenic and she would do the craziest things and we're all little, so we don't know, right? We're like, yo, she's crazy. Like, what? Oh my God, grandma's crazy. Get her away from us, right? And for the longest time, we felt the same way. But again, we don't know because we are growing up, we're seeing this, but no, because back then it wasn't talked about. Had
Right.
we been, you know, had they been honest with us and been able to say, hey, this is what this is how we're going to handle it, this is what we do, then we would have been able to grow this way and then handle what we are going through, right? But no, it's just swept on the rug. Like, no, never mind. It's okay. They all right. They all right. They're going to be all right. You just go watch
Right.
TV. You know what I mean? Go play outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
They having an episode, go play outside, right? All the kids got to go outside or up in the room, right? While things are going on, instead of like bringing us in on it. And I'm glad that
Right.
has really changed. I mean, still in a lot of families it's not, but for the most part, there is a lot of openness now and it has changed. But I want to ask you, Tiffany, like,
Mm-hmm.
what got you there? So I know it runs in your family, and I know that this was you were going through. And you talk about childhood trauma, and I don't know if it was childhood trauma for you, but there was something that happened that clicked that anxiety and depression.
Yes, and that's a great question. And so for me, I always prided myself on being able to take care of my daughter. So there came a time where it was two incomes, and then even when it was one, I was like, I got this. My daughter didn't want or need for anything, and I felt like I was on top of the world, so to speak. Right, everything was stable. I was stable mentally, physically, financially, emotionally. Everything was stable. But then, although the two incomes went to one, and when it went to none, it's like, oh wait, I'm this is unfamiliar. I don't know how to get back now. And then everything was just happening simultaneously and I fell behind. So my truck was
Mm.
repossessed, the utility bills was piling up, so the heat was cut off. And I'm like, wait a minute now, I'm drowning. And I'm looking at my daughter suffering. She was in private school and I was getting the letters and the calls that she was going to be, had to leave the school. So for
Right.
me, that's how it sunk in. And that's how it happened for me, with everything just happening. Literally, when I say unfamiliar, simultaneous lack, it was like one thing after another just piling up. I'm like, whoa, and I
Wow.
wasn't used to ever being in that position. So
Right.
that's where it came from me. And because I wasn't used to being in that position, and because I was ashamed and embarrassed,
Mm.
I kind of sat in it. Right.
Yes.
And I didn't speak up and say anything to anybody.
Right. Right. Wow. 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 We have so much in common, girl. It's so crazy. It is so crazy. Like I would, when you were right before you came on, I was literally talking about 2022. The first time I ever had depression was, and that was it. I had lost
Yeah.
everything, like all my finances, my car, like I broke my fibula, like life was just, where I couldn't. And here's the thing, I've been through some things, right? If you know my story, oh, she's gone again. If you know my story, you know that I have grew up in, gang related environment, that at 10 years old, I was on the streets. Like I've held guns before in a young age. I've seen people die in front of me. Literally, we're holding on to them and they're literally taking their last breath full of blood from a shootout. Like I've been involved in things that no child should ever be involved in. I've been sexually abused when I was a kid, physically abused by my stepfather, who only picked me, right? For whatever reason, he only picked me. It wasn't my dad. I mean, it wasn't my kid, my sisters and brothers. You know, I protected them. I was glad. I didn't want it to be them, you know, but for whatever reason, he picked me. And so, you know, I was physically abused right there. And so, like, I've been through a lot, but even through all that, everybody knew I was like always positive. I was always like, you know, shining, and I was tough, and I was the street girl. And I was just like, but then that year, right, where I lost everything, I literally was hollering depression. Like, I was so sad. My marriage was upside down. We were living in this tiny little house. Like, you know, my kids didn't have their own space. My husband and I didn't have their own space. Then we wonder why our marriage was down. We literally hadn't slept in the same room in 2 years. Like, we were literally sharing rooms, trying to sleep in the living room. Like, it was just so messy. It was a messy time in my life. People, we go through it. You're not alone. People see me now and they're like, oh, Idylli, how do you do it? Oh my gosh, I get DMs like, how do you do it, girl? I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And I appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. I appreciate it like no other, right? I'm so thankful for the comments, for the love. But this, I had to grow to this, right? I'm not new to this. It didn't just happen overnight. I had to grow to this person. I had to grow into this. I had to get myself out of that. Like she was saying, she had to get herself up. I had to surrender. That's what I did. I had to surrender. Like, have your way. Like, Lord, that's it. I can't no more. I've been doing it on my own. Like, I got you in the front sometimes, in the back sometimes, but I need you front and center at all times because I just can't do it by myself anymore. And really, that's when things started to change for me. And so she's back. And thank you so much, Tiffany, for coming back. We're
Thank
gonna
you.
keep doing it until it happens. Like that's just it.
Oh my gosh. Yes. And so, yeah. So I think I don't even know when I froze or when I
But
cut
we're
off.
talking about the story of depression and how you got it in your how what got you there. So you were talking about how you were to the point you couldn't take it anymore. You were hollering, you know, you were depressed, you had anxiety, and you were looking at your daughter with no heat, and you're just like,
Yeah. And it was like, I worked hard. I was able to get this home, this nice size home, nice area in Philly. But every day, my daughter and I sleep in this small room in a twin bed. I can't even enjoy my house. I can't even go downstairs and sit on the living room and put Netflix on and watch a movie because it's so cold. All we had was this small room and this twin size bed. It's like my mindset was, God, how did I get here? I'm not supposed to be here. Right. And it's like, are you kidding me? Like, how did this happen? Right. And can you imagine standing outside at a flea market for 8 hours in the wintertime, thinking you're going to make some money to pay the utility bills, but made nothing. Like, I was in full survivor mode. I'm like, how is this happening? How did you position me to come this far? Just for me, I felt like I was going backwards. Like, how did I get here? But when I sit here today and I think about it in retrospect, God was like, what you went through wasn't for you. It was to help somebody else, to show them that they can be in this low place, to show them that they can experience despair and devastation and depression and anxiety, but there's light at the end of the tunnel.
There is.
It's like, okay, God, I got it.
Right. I love that so much. My God, girl, you sure we're not sisters? Like, bro, we have literally been through so much of I promise you're gonna go back and watch this. And as you were out, I was just talking about my story, how we were in a small little house. My husband and I weren't sharing a room. We were 2-bedroom, 5 people.
Wow.
Like, we were like literally like I was just saying that. And I'm like, she comes on saying this. I'm like, oh my goodness, we have like so much good stories. But you know what? At the end of the day, and that's what I love how you said, like, we can show people, because that's what I said. People come on and they DM all the time. And I know they do it to you too, right? Like, oh, you're doing so great. Oh, I'm so proud of you. How did you do it? And then it's like, they don't realize what the backstory from that, where you come from and how they can too. Like, it's not just me, sis. Like, I'm not, I'm special because, I'm Idylli, but she's gone again. I'm special because I'm Idylli, but I'm not, right? At the same time, like, if I can, you can too. And I don't know if we're gonna, I'm gonna wait for one last time, and if it happens again, it happens again. But at the end of the day, the message is clear, y'all. If you don't get nothing else, if you hang up now and nobody else watches this, if you don't get nothing else, the message is clear. Mental health matters. Depression, anxiety is real. Bipolar, schizophrenia, feeling sad, just feeling unworthy, not feeling like you're enough. Those are real emotions, and they're okay as long as we don't stay there. We get to choose to love, to not live in those moments. We understand them, we accept them, and we say, okay, now what? What is my next move? How can I get out of this? Where can I go? Once you start asking those questions, automatically your physiology, your mind starts to change, and it shifts. It shifts, literally. You'll all of a sudden see opportunities, people calling you, things coming up on Facebook, whatever it is, will start to come up to get you help. It's the shift that matters. And it's you asking yourself, okay, I feel sad. Okay, A, B, and C happened to me. Okay, and you're crying. Cry it out. It's okay. But then you say, what now? How can I? That should be the number one, whatever statement is coming after that. How can I come out of this? How can I get better? How can I grow? How can I get another job? How can I make more finances? How can I get over a broken heart? How can I get over this depression? How can I get over this sadness? How can I start my goals? How can I even take a shower? How can I make the next step? Literally, once you ask yourself, how can I promise you there's a shift. There's a shift, and it happens, and it's real. Okay, mi gente? And that shift is real. And that's how we are going to end May's Mental Health Matter. Because I know that this story ends well. She's powerful. She does what I do, right? Some of you guys may think like, oh, why is she having her on when they do the similar things, right? We're both mindset, leadership, and women empowerment coaches, right? But at the end of the day, what is for you is for you, period. We don't walk around here on that kind of mode, right? We don't walk around here in that kind of mode. So,
I'm back.
I know. I was getting ready to wrap. I was literally getting ready to wrap it up. But I did say this. I said, we ended it with mental health awareness and how important it is to get help, and that little shift of how can I, right? That little mind, that question that you ask, how can I get up? How can I take one more step? How can I shower? How can I get a job? How can I get income? That shift alone will just change the trajectory of everything, right? And
Absolutely.
so asking that question, and then I ended up, and I want to get to this before we get kicked off again, because we get kicked off again, we're going to end it, right? But I wanted to get into this because I said, then I started saying Tiffany Harris, she's so powerful in what she does. I said, a lot of people might even say, well, why do you have her on the show? You guys do the same thing. Here's the difference. What is for you, right? There's people that you help that I can't touch. There's people that I help that you can't touch. Like, it just doesn't work that way, right? And so I want to make sure to showcase what you're doing. And that's what I was literally about to get into the banners here, because, you have a mission, and your mission is incredible. I put it here. Hold on, here it goes. Her mission is to empower women worldwide to transform their mindset, allowing them to reach new heights in all aspects of their life, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. That's huge, sis. I love that.
Yeah.
What brought that on?
Literally, and I know this may sound cliche, but God, like literally after I went through what I went through, like after I had that breakthrough and then that breakout, God was like, now let me show you why all of this was necessary. Now I need you to go back and get those women who are waiting for you to show up. And like you were talking
Mm,
about earlier, people within the DMs, and you're telling people to DM you. I would get messages. People would DM me and say, "Hey, I saw you here. I saw you here. Are you coaching? Are you doing mentorship? Like, I need your help." I was like,
mm,
and so God kept showing me, like, Tiffany is bigger than you, right?
right.
Like, there's a whole nation that's waiting on you. So I took you through the fire and allowed you to come out on the other side and not smell like smoke, so that you can be a testament to other people. I need you to
Right.
show them what I did for you and let them know that I'm going to do it for them as well. So that's
Right.
how that all came about. And when I look at our mental health and the things that we're trying to do, for me, it's a holistic approach, right? To make sure
Mm,
everything is in order. And
mm-hmm.
so that's where I came, how God was like, listen, we're going to do this mentally, physically, financially, and emotionally. Like, we're going to have it all. We're going to be stable in every area of
Exactly.
our life.
Exactly. I love that. I love that so much. It's exactly right. It's pillars. I teach this all the time. We talk about it all the time, right? It's so important to have your pillars, what's important about them, and making sure that in area of your life, we're checking off these boxes, making sure that, we're working on them each day. And you have here win, women, empower. And I love your logo here. It is so beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
When Women Empower, established in 2023, women empowering women to soar, scale, and succeed.
Yes, yes,
Sis,
yes.
you're
Yes,
doing
thank
big
you.
things, man. And I'm super proud of you. I know that you're talking at an event coming up on Saturday.
Yes. So much is happening. So I'm talking at an event on Saturday. If you haven't gotten your tickets, you can get your tickets. There's tickets still available. I'll be one of the keynote speakers. I'll be speaking on stage in LA next Thursday. I'm a keynote speaker at a graduation like June 12th. So much going on, and I would love for you all to stay connected. But definitely Saturday, reach out to me, reach out to Nikki, reach out to Desiree. Make sure you get in the room. Warrior Women, Bomb Global. It's going to be absolutely amazing.
It is going to be amazing. And this is how you connect with Tiffany on Instagram and on Facebook. Make sure that you connect with her. Again, her story is one of, resilience, persistency. Because let me ask you, was it easy? Now, okay, so now you're in this anxiety, you're in this depression, and now you say, okay, you're going through it with the flea, at the flea market, it's cold, right? And you're going in Philly, so you're in dead winter and you're just trying to support your family. And now you get this vision where you say, okay, enough is enough. God, where you want to take me is bigger than you. How was that transition? Has it been an easy ride?
It hasn't been an easy ride, but I'm not afraid of the challenge, right? And so now I know that if God gave me the vision, He's going to make the provision. So now I know that there are people, there are systems, there are resources in place that's going to support me along the journey. And so,
Mm,
there's still some uphills and some downhills, there's some setbacks, but now I
right.
have a different mindset that allows me to keep pushing. I'm
Yeah.
connected to different communities that helps me keep pushing. One of the biggest things that I did, was very important to me, was to invest in myself. So my spiritual coach, my personal coach, is the number one motivational speaker in the world, who's Eric Thomas. So I'm part of his
Mm,
community. My speaker coach is Lisa Nichols. I'm part of her community. And so just having those communities in place and resources,
right.
when I feel like things are becoming overwhelming, I know where to tap in and get a recharge or refuel.
Right. Listen, one of my biggest sayings, and I got this from my mentor, and I always give him credit for it, but I say it all the time. Your willpower will never outwill that of your community.
That's
It
right.
just won't. It just won't. And that's why it's important to plug yourself in the right places. Who are you surrounding yourself around?
Mm-hmm.
Right? You just said like Lisa Nichols, Eric Thomas. I know you guys know those names. If you don't, go on YouTube, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I listen to Eric Thomas every morning, girl. Every morning.
Love. Yep.
The other day, he hit me with you ain't being the new you long enough for the old you to not keep coming back. And I almost took off my headset and threw it off because I'm like,
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, like, I've been plugged into him since London's like up here now. So when London was down here, him and
right.
Lisa Nichols both. And one of the things he says, I want to say this to you all, and if you can put this in the chat, you can. When you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. I was like, oh, we all know how bad we want to breathe. When you I remember being in a car accident and my stomach hit the steering wheel. And I was like, all I wanted to do was breathe. That's all I wanted to do. And when I finally got there, I was like, ooh. So when you want to succeed as bad as you want to breathe, then you will be successful. I was like, I got you, ET. I got you, coach. Yes.
Yes. I love that. That's classic Eric Thomas right there.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, a lot of people might be, maybe you've heard it before. Maybe this is your first time hearing it. Maybe you've heard it over and over, but now you're hearing it again. It's for a reason. But at the end of the day, the fundamentals don't change, right? And if you look back, all of this, even all the personal development, all of the growth, and this is why I go on biblical principles, because they all come from the Bible, right? Like all of this stuff that they teach now and they do now is the same thing. And so it's just so important to stand on those fundamentals. A lot of people don't like, it's immersing yourself in the information. They don't like to hear the same things over and over. They're like, you're doing the same thing over and over. Like when I was in class, I was in a mastermind and they're like, you're doing the same thing every week. Yeah, you have to immerse yourself into this information and really, really just be able to grow and plug yourself in the right communities. So that's what you did. And now here you are helping women. You have your own community. So you have a Facebook group, right? Is that right?
Yes. So I have so the When Women Empower, we have a private Facebook group. And so, because that is a membership community, but I also just started, I've been helping individuals launch their speaking career. So I just started I've been doing that, but now I've added on a free private community for speakers. So that is free for speakers. It's called Shift Your Mindset and Speak. But the When Women Empower is a membership community.
I love that so much. You're changing lives, sis. And this knowledge economy, this information economy is just getting started. And we're literally at the right place at the right time. Yes. A good mentor of mine last week said, a couple weeks ago, he said, the best time to brand yourself was 10 years ago. He goes, I'm not going to lie. But the second best time is today.
That's right.
It's
That's
today.
Like, what are we waiting for? I get on the call with my mentees and they're like, well, I'm an aspiring. No, why aren't you that? Like, you need to be there right now. We're not waiting. We're not wasting no more time. No more excuses. No more procrastination. Yeah, exactly. So I agree.
Exactly. And so, okay, so now, you're winning, you and your daughter are in a better place. You guys are in a better place financially. You're helping change people's lives. You're a service to others, right? If you help enough people get what they want, you'll get what you want. It's just something that happens, right? We don't do it for that reason. It's just something that happens. So what is next for you? Like, I know you're speaking in LA. What do you see yourself in 5 years?
One of the things I was talking to my speaker friends about is going on a speaker tour, actually building out a whole speaker company is one of the newest things that we're talking about. And so I'm looking forward to that, up and coming, doing more traveling out of the country. I have some connections with individuals in Liberia and Lesotho, so really going out and reaching individuals in those areas.
I love it. All right. If you have one last thing to say to the audience, if they can only take, my mentor taught me this too. He's like, if you had 5 minutes, well, we don't got 5 minutes, but if you had a couple minutes to tell the one person one last thing before you took like your last breath and you wanted it to be the most important thing that they needed to know, what would that be?
So considering what we've talked about, I'm going to say your current situation is not your final destination. I'm leaving with that.
Listen, if y'all are on here and do not think that this is not, listen, I said almost the same thing of like 10 minutes ago when we were out.
Wow.
If you, mi gente, if you don't take this as a sign, then I don't know what else to tell you. Like literally.
I just got chills when you said that.
Say it again. Say it one more time, girl.
Yeah.
Say it one more time.
Your current situation is not your final destination.
Listen, that's it. That's it right there. Period. Like we can like drop the mic.
Yeah.
Wow. Let's go. Thank you so much for being on. I appreciate your time. I appreciate everything, even through the technology, even you being a soldier and just keep coming back. Like, nah, I'm not giving up. Like I'm keeping coming. I appreciate it.
And that's how it is in life. We can't give up. Like when things don't go our way. No, we're going to get back in the game. We're going to regroup, make a little adjustments and keep pressing. So thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
That is a perfect example of that. Mi gente, thank you so much for joining. We will see you next Tuesday. Thank you. We will see you next Tuesday, 8 p.m. EST. Make sure you reach out to my girl. Let her know. Send messages, DMs. She'll also put her information in the comments. There's a lot of comments. Amen. God will do it every time. I mean, Tennille just said that's it. It's too real. Over here on Instagram, value from just the 10 minutes I've been on. Thank you so much. You know, a great evening. When it rains and pours, totally understand. Like, the comments have just been pouring in. People get it. They understand. We thank you guys, mi gente, again so much for coming on. We will see you next week. And I'll see you guys in the DMs. Take care. Don't forget to like, share, and comment.
Good night.